I left school at 15 and my first job was in the rag trade. Then I got a part-time job and I went to Zill's at the Merton factory estate making thermometers, and that's where I met my husband, which was lovely. We got married in 1955 at St Peter's Church, and then 50 years later I renewed my vows in the same church. I moved into this house in 1966. The neighbours down here were very friendly. In fact, one of my neighbours, she moved in here the March before I moved in here in the November, and we've remained friends ever since. And I didn't want to live here in the first place, but it shows for itself that I'm happy to be here. And I do love living in Sutton, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
The thing is, in those days, I was free range. I was one of those free range children. I used to go over to the park. My mum and dad were indoors. Go on, see you later. When I was little, I used to go to Coshilton Ponds and go in there with a fishing net, a jam jar with a piece of string for a handle, some jam sandwiches and a bottle of orange squash, and spend nearly all day there catching little sticklebacks about an inch long. I went to Camden Road Juniors. It was an interesting junior school because it was so old-fashioned. Went into the classroom and had a coal fire in there, and I went, this is not right. Most of the rooms had radiators, but this one at the end had a blazing fire in the middle of it. My dad used to go out on a Saturday night, go on Saturday to work or something. He'd come home with a big piece of hard cod's roe with bread and butter, and he'd go to the Regent Cafe, used to be in Sutton, and they did, it's basically their equivalent to ice cream, like a gelato. So we'd have the cod's roe with just bread and butter, and this gelato afterwards. My mum, she worked in a firm called Coppins. There's a milliner's shop, bottom of Sutton High Street, where Asda's is now. You know, it smelt like an old-fashioned shop. They had the when you put the money in the thing and go and send the money off to the cashier's desk. They'd sort the money out, put the receipt and the change in, and send it back. There were 2 arcades in Sutton, and you walk up it, it's like Burlington Arcade in London. Mahogany frames, cut glass, the glass was all engraved, and decided to pull it all down. And then a bit further round from there, you had the cricket bat makers, to supply Surrey with their cricket bats. And you used to see all the people bringing all the willow in, the big willow logs to make the bats.
Coming down this street, you know, I fell in love with the gardens, you know, and the flowers and the lawns, and the surrounding areas were nice and tidy. And this particular house had a beautiful lawn in the front. One of my neighbours, he had a beautiful garden, beautifully lawned and striped. And it gave you that feeling of being in the country, without being in the country, but still near enough to everything else. When we moved here, my son was 6, 7, and he went to Muschamp School. He was the only child of colour there, you know, so I suppose he felt a bit lonely. But gradually over time, you know, some additional people moved into the area. If you go shopping, you know, you're out in the high road and you see someone of colour, you know, you'd sort of wave or you acknowledge them, good morning, etc., you know, because there weren't very many of us around here. One of the other memories, which brings a smile to my face, is the street party we had when Diana and Charles got married. We decorated the street, they had tables out, someone hired a horse, and the children were riding on the horse down the street taking turns. The horse, you know, did its bit, and one of the neighbours ran with a dustpan and broom to to scoop it up for her garden.
Oh, well, I just loved it. The people were so lovely. Very friendly and nice. I find, and it still is very true, you would smile at somebody and they would smile back. It's very varied, lots of different kinds of people. The police here are wonderful. They actually look after people over 60 and check that they're all right.
When I first came to St Helier was pretty much white working class. There wasn't much ethnic diversity on St Helier, quite a bit of low-level antisocial behaviour, but that has definitely changed over the last 16 years. So there's much more ethnic diversity, there's much more private ownership on the estate, there's much more care and attention on the estate, there's less antisocial behaviour. Even the schools have radically improved their performance. There's definitely been a strengthening of partnership within the borough, and I think it comes down from the top. I think it comes down from the council, it comes down from local MPs, it comes down from having a very strong voluntary sector. I'm involved in trying to build community and build community projects. If I look back at why Street Pastors has made an impact over the last 10 years, I think there's a number of things. One is our volunteers. If you look at our volunteers, they range from people in their 30s to our oldest volunteer is an 87-year-old we call a super gran. What's fascinating to me is living here is that I've got a neighbour a few doors away who, when my fence blew down last winter, he's in his 70s, said, "Oh, I'll come and help you." Came along, brought his hammer, some nails, did my decking, got the fence up. And to me, that's an example of neighbourliness without it being structured.